how come people aren't educated on how to grow their own food and harvest rain and solar and to build their own homes at a young age so they can do it when they get older so that it can stop worrying about the stuff that common Americans worry about?
Hi, everyone. This is Jack Allwild with another Money episode. Today, we have very special guest, Cody Scott. We are here to discuss his post on a Facebook group, Off Grid Living, and it has over 1,000 comments and reactions. Cody, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Happy to be here.
So, before we get into how you retired at 30, bought 3.6 acres, built three homes for 180 grand,
hmm
I like to ask everyone, what was the relationship with money like growing up?
Oh my goodness. That's a great question, man. Thank you so much for asking. I grew up poor mostly, so my family was very, very poor. Both parents dropped out of high school. So most of my life I spent um, trying to make money by stealing things and then selling them. So I was a criminal in my teenage years. Obviously, I went to jail and moved on throughout life and changed my ways and all that good stuff since then. But that's kind of how I lived, man, on Harris Teeter samples and stealing things from stores. So my relationship was money with money wasn't a good one, man. I wouldn't recommend that for anybody.
So when did you feel like you started to change on that front?
Oh man, these are great questions. I started to change this on my 21st birthday, shortly before things were leading up to it. On my 21st birthday, I was standing on top of this beautiful bridge that we had in the town I was growing up in. Had a little bit too much to drink, and I was ready to jump off that bridge, man. But then I was speaking with God. Faith is obviously really important to me, and I was praying like, change my life, man. Just do it. And shortly after, I went back, got my high school diploma, then my college degree, moved to Wilmington, North Carolina, started my own business, and then 5 years later became a millionaire.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
so it
the
happened fast.
so what actually allowed you to retire at 30? What was it, this business you started?
Yeah, I own a video production company. So we create videos for service-based organizations, nonprofit organizations, and political organizations, all that kind of stuff. So when I started my business, I surrounded myself with a circle of five people who were living the life that I wanted to live. They obviously had the wealth, they had the homes, they all believed in God, which is important to me. And I surrounded myself with those guys and they became my mentors. Going from my background, not knowing anything about business, how to run one, how to make money, I was saving everything, still eating samples every now and then. I was living in this, what some would call like a poor mindset, although I don't necessarily believe that. Once I surrounded myself with these guys, they took me under their wing and taught me sales and business growth and business plans and upsells and marketing and advertising and customer service and systems and processes. And then after implementing those things in my own business, I scaled really fast. I worked with a lot of clients since then. And as I grew my business, I charged more for my time because it was getting results. So now I'm obviously really expensive to hire as a videographer. But as I grew my business, I took that money, all completely debt free. Keep in mind, I didn't build up debt as I was doing this. I took that money and I was saving towards a bigger goal, which is to buy land, to build homes. Specifically, this one I wanted to build for my mom, but that's another story. And then live off grid. So I had that dream since I was 13 after watching Last of the Mohicans, and I just kept that passion since then.
So I can hear a lot of people asking, and I've talked with the author of the Go Giver book, like how to
Oh.
kind of make yourself useful to mentors. How do you get someone, or how did those initial conversations or relationships start where you got someone that, kind of excelled in what you thought were your deficiencies and they helped you along?
It was weird, man. That's how I was sitting at Atlanta Bread in Wilmington, and this guy sat down as I was just sitting there, like researching stuff. He sat down, and maybe I was editing a video. So he sat down across from me, and he just looked in my eyes and said, "I see you." I'm
Okay.
like, this was completely random, and his name's David Reeser, and he became my first mentor, and he's a great guy. He's a believer as well, and he said, "I want you to meet me here at this time and place." So I did, and it was a BNI meeting, if you've ever been to one. And from there, he introduced me to a lot of other people, which opened my eyes to networking and building referral sales force, and value chain partnerships. And that's when I was introduced to my other mentors in the process of networking. Because
I'm actually not familiar. What is BNI?
BNI is the largest networking group in the entire world. They have a chapter
Ah,
basically in every city, every state, every country, the largest in the world. And I actually have an online film school that I tell all my students how to maximize and find clients as a videographer through BNI. Anyone can do it,
interesting.
any business.
Okay.
Yeah, you could do it too.
And do you continue to go to those today?
Not anymore. I used to when I was building my business. Now
Uh-huh.
my book of business is so large that I have more people asking for my services, so I can say no
Uh-huh.
to a lot more. One, because I don't need the money anymore, and two, I just prioritize a lot of my time with my family. So
Mhm.
I don't need to build a network or build a business anymore.
Gotcha. So you said you kind of got the itch to live off grid after watching Last of the Mohicans. So
Yeah, you know
that
what?
yeah, I've seen that. I was very little when I
Nice.
saw it at first.
Yeah,
The
same.
so the 3.6 acres you bought, this was after you had already retired then?
Mm. It was
Or
in the process of doing it. So I was transitioning from not working as much to buying this land. So after we bought the land, that's when, and put the homes on it, that's when we
gotcha.
called it.
And what were some of the things you were thinking about when you were looking to acquire land, like in terms of like area, I don't know, close resources? What were you looking for?
Yeah, I'd imagine you can probably fill in this blank for me, but I'll answer it for you. I was looking for land that was unrestricted, so we can do whatever we wanted to on it. I wanted a lot of access to the sun, so we can put solar on it. I wanted a place that was deep in, I'll say the country, so like deep in the country. So we had peace, we had quiet with no light pollution, more nature. So our air quality is better out here. And I wanted a river. I didn't get that part. I got a nice stream that runs on two sides of the property, but I didn't get my river yet. So I was looking for those things when I was trying to find the right piece of land, and it took 3 years to find the right piece of land. And when we found it, we bought it instantly, and then we ended up buying out the people who own the land next door too, so we can get more of it.
And where was this?
This is in Western North Carolina.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, because there's, well, I mean, one of the reasons I was interested in having you on is housing has become a pretty big issue for many Americans. And I think, or people are seeking alternative ways of living. And so I guess on that note, like, what have you learned about off-grid living that you didn't really know before you started looking into it?
Yeah, obviously all the technical stuff on how to set up solar and rain catchment and grow your own food and to build your own houses, like the one I'm in now, I built a couple weeks ago, with these two bad boys right here.
Very cool.
But the things that I wasn't planning for is how it would impact my family and my life as well too. A positive impact. My marriage has become stronger. My relationship with my wife, my son, and my relationship with God has become stronger as well too, because we're relying on Him to provide rain and to provide solar. Whereas on grid, you can flick a light on and you're might be sitting in air conditioning right now. We don't have that luxury, so we got to crack a window. So we've developed a stronger sense of gratitude living off grid as well. Now, in relation to what you're speaking about, the housing becoming difficult for people, we found alternative solutions that are affordable. And one of the bigger discoveries was, how come there are not a larger group of people who know about this? Why isn't this stuff being taught in public schools? How come people aren't educated on how to grow their own food and harvest rain and solar and to build their own homes at a young age so they can do it when they get older, so that it can stop worrying about the stuff that common Americans worry about? The house I'm in right now is a two-story log cabin. I paid 6,000 for this. There is a cabin down that way. I paid 15 for that, and there's a yurt over there I paid about 30,000 for. Those seem like big numbers, but that's not a lot of money if you buy like a $6,000 cabin and you can live in this while you're maybe start saving for something else. So those are some of the things I've learned.
Mhm. On the food aspect, could you paint a picture of like what types of food you're growing and harvesting?
Hmm. Yeah, right now we're doing microgreens, so broccoli, alfalfa, clover, tomatoes, corn, and all of our meat, if we do eat it, is sourced locally. So they can do the butchering and the harvesting and all that stuff and serve it up here. So everything's local. We know we drive past them every day, so we know kind of like their living conditions, what they're eating, and then our money stays in the community, which is amazing. If we need anything supplementary, like cucumbers or beets or anything additional, then we just go to our farmers market every Saturday.
Okay, interesting.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, and can you describe, do you have like a rainwater tank or what do you guys do for water? Is there a well?
Mhm. Yeah, we have a rain catchment system for now. We will install a well at some point, just not yet, because there are a lot of people trying to buy our land and our homestead from us. So we're trying
Uh,
to figure out that process. But we have a rain catchment barrel down that way where it runs off of the house into it, and then we purify it through reverse osmosis to drink it. And there are two other additional tanks. We'll call them tubs for visualization. We could shower or take a bath in them or swim in them if we wanted to, but we just scoop that out in case we have a dry season for a very long period of time. Then we'll just scoop a little bit out and put it in there, that kind of stuff.
Interesting. And are those
Yeah.
attached, like if you wanted to take a shower, is that attached to the shower?
Yeah, we do have the shower attached to the rain catchment barrel, so
Okay.
that runs through a solar powered pump, which runs into a
Ah,
hot water heater, and then it comes out into one of those. We love the shower experience, so we got the big shower head that just
uh-huh.
dumps all the
Yeah,
water
right.
on. So
Water.
that's, yeah,
Cool.
it's nice. Yeah,
So,
it's comfy, man.
uh, yeah, so a lot of this stuff it might be sound overwhelming to someone that's like never looked into this, like and like isn't maybe they don't consider themselves that handy. Is there somewhere where you like felt like you started that really helped get kind of a grasp on this type of living?
Whoa, great question, Jack. You do your research, man. Wow. Um, Obviously, I'd imagine a lot of people would respond YouTube to this question. So partly YouTube. In a former life, I built homes with my father. So the construction
Ah,
experience I had already, a lot of men could do it if they try as well too. It's kind of like second nature, somewhat. But the solar and the water and all that stuff I learned by myself, just trying things, them not working. That's a process not everyone can afford to do. Obviously, we can afford to do it, which is why we spent a lot of money testing things to see what doesn't work, what does work, and then going with what does work. YouTube, I got a lot of information from, but a lot of this was trial and error, which is why we're starting a new company to actually help families transition off grid without compromising their comfort. Because we did all the testing at our expense. We bought 3 homes to see which one is best. We bought a ton of solar and a ton of rain cashman things so we could figure out which one's best for food, for land. And we did all of this at our expense so we can put all that information into a community and share it with people. And you'll see that coming out shortly.
Cool. Well, and what's that company called or going to be called?
I can't say the name
Ah, okay.
yet. I can't say the name yet, but I'll update you when it's released.
Okay. Yeah. We'd love to link to that.
Absolutely.
So normally when I'm winding down these shows, I ask what the person's best and worst personal finance advice they've either heard or received. But for you, I kind of want to ask,
Hmm.
like, what would you say are like some of the best and worst like ways to operate one's life? Like just words of wisdom or poor pieces of advice.
Mm, that's a good question, Jack. One thing that has served me well in my life and in my business, my family, everywhere I go, is to put others before yourself, to be selfless, not to think less of yourself, but to think of yourself less, to care for people and to choose to love people. And love is an action first and an emotion second. So if you love people, what I've experienced in my business and in my life is it always comes back tenfold. Oh, in my business, I served a lot by offering discounts or doing things for free or going out of my way to take care of something. And like 10, 20, 30 clients from that. And in my personal life, I mean, this is quite obvious if you think about it. If I serve my wife first, she's gonna love me and then want to serve me. So that has worked across the board. It's easier said than it is done, but if you can choose to love people first and to think of yourself second, that'll take you a long way.
Awesome.
And then the money comes after that. That's the
Mhm.
I didn't ask for all of this, but it happened.
Awesome. Great piece of advice. So Cody, as we're signing out, why don't you tell the listeners where they can go get in touch with you or learn more about you?
Yeah, right now they people can contact me on YouTube. It's just youtube.com/Cody Scott. You can watch a lot of off-grid videos there, and you'll see a bunch of content coming out over the next 3 to 6 months. Um, and then you'll see this new business that we're talking about, helping families transition off grid.
Awesome. It's a very cool service, and I wish you all the best.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.